In the heart of a small town stood an abandoned circus tent, its faded colors and tattered fabric a haunting reminder of a forgotten era. The townsfolk avoided this relic, knowing the ominous tales that swirled around it, a legend woven with fear and whispered in hushed tones. Decades ago, a traveling circus had graced their streets, attracting crowds with dazzling performances and colorful parades. Among the performers was a clown named Mr. Jingles, whose antics were once cherished by children and adults alike. But beneath his painted smile lurked something sinister, a darkness that cast a shadow upon the merriment. On a moonlit night, a fierce storm descended upon the town, and the circus sought refuge within the old tent's sagging canvas. As the tempest raged outside, the townspeople heard strange, unsettling laughter echoing from within, accompanied by a chilling melody that sent shivers down their spines. When morning broke and the storm subsided, the circus troupe had vanished, leaving behind only the abandoned tent and an eerie silence that hung in the air. The legend began, a tale of vanished souls and an eternal curse that lingered within the confines of the deserted circus grounds. Years passed, and the tent remained untouched, a haunting relic that bore witness to an unspeakable horror. But the legend persisted, warning locals to steer clear of the cursed site for fear of awakening the malevolent force that lay dormant within. Decades had passed since that fateful night when Mr. Jingles and his troupe vanished into thin air, leaving behind a desolate tent tainted by a dark curse. The town's residents learned to avoid the abandoned grounds, heeding the chilling warnings that echoed through the years. However, curiosity often beckons the foolish, and among the young, inquisitive souls was Emily, a spirited teenager known for her adventurous spirit. Despite the eerie warnings, she couldn't resist the allure of exploring the forsaken circus tent. Under the shroud of night, Emily sneaked through the overgrown foliage that surrounded the abandoned grounds. The decrepit tent loomed ominously against the moonlit sky, its presence both captivating and foreboding. With each step closer, a palpable sense of unease settled upon her. The air grew colder, and a haunting melody, a distant, haunting tune, seeped through the rustling leaves, sending a shiver down her spine. Pushing aside the tattered flaps that served as an entrance, Emily entered the musty interior. The once grand circus lay in ruins, faded posters, overturned props, and discarded clown masks strewn across the dusty floor. But amidst the debris, something caught her eye, a solitary red balloon, swaying gently as if beckoning her deeper into the heart of the abandoned tent. Against her better judgment, Emily followed its eerie sway. As she ventured deeper into the darkness, the sounds of distant laughter echoed around her, an unnerving chorus that seemed to originate from nowhere and everywhere all at once. "Who's there?" Emily called out, her voice swallowed by the oppressive silence that followed. But the silence was fleeting, shattered by the sudden, echoing footsteps that reverberated through the tent. A chilling sensation crawled up her spine, urging her to flee, but an inexplicable force held her in place. She turned, finding herself face to face with a figure, a silhouette painted in ghoulish hues, adorned in ragged clown attire. The figure loomed in the shadows, its wide grin revealing unnaturally sharp teeth beneath a painted red nose. Its eyes, void of warmth or humanity, fixated on Emily with an unsettling intensity. Before she could react, the figure beckoned her with an outstretched hand, each finger adorned with gaudy, mismatched rings that glinted in the dim moonlight filtering through the torn tent canvas. Emily's heart raced with a mix of fear and morbid curiosity. She teetered on the edge of a nightmarish revelation, unsure whether to heed the warnings and flee or succumb to the macabre pull of the cursed clown's invitation. Despite the ominous warning signs, an inexplicable fascination gripped Emily. With a trembling hand, she reached out, drawn to the enigmatic figure before her. As her fingertips brushed against the clown's hand, a surge of unearthly coldness coursed through her veins. In that haunting moment, the tent seemed to shift and contort around her, shadows elongating into grotesque shapes that danced along the walls. The eerie laughter crescendoed, echoing louder and more discordant, piercing the very fabric of reality. Suddenly, the clown's grin contorted into a malevolent sneer. Its laughter morphed into a cacophony of unnerving sounds, whispers, shrieks, and unsettling melodies that clawed at Emily's sanity. With a gasp, Emily recoiled, breaking free from the clown's grasp. As she stumbled backward, the tent's interior twisted into a nightmarish labyrinth, its walls pulsating with an otherworldly glow. Panic surged within her, urging her to escape, but the distorted space seemed to swallow her every attempt to flee. She tripped over debris, her heart pounding in terror. Amidst the chaos, a familiar melody, a haunting tune from her childhood, echoed faintly in the air. Through the disorienting maze, Emily glimpsed a faint glimmer of hope, a portal, a rift in the fabric of the cursed reality, summoning every ounce of courage. She sprinted toward the shimmering rift, clawing her way through the surreal labyrinth. The dissonant laughter and chilling whispers pursued her, but she refused to succumb to the darkness. With a final leap, Emily crossed the threshold of the rift, stumbling into the moonlit night outside the tent. Gasping for breath, she collapsed onto the dew-covered grass, the echoes of the clown's eerie laughter fading into the distance. Though she survived the harrowing encounter, Emily knew she'd forever carry the haunting memory of that night within the abandoned circus. She fled into the safety of the town, vowing never to venture near the cursed grounds again. The legend of the malevolent clown persisted, a cautionary tale that echoed through generations, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked within the abandoned tent, a darkness that hungered for unwary souls. The next morning, as the first rays of dawn illuminated the town, a haunting sight met the residents, a vacant field where the abandoned circus tent once stood. It was as if the cursed remnants of the past had vanished into thin air, leaving no trace behind. Rumors swirled. Some claimed the circus had burned to the ground, while others whispered of an inexplicable disappearance. Regardless, the cursed clown's legend lingered, etched into the town's history as a chilling cautionary tale, a spectral reminder of the darkness that once dwelled within the forsaken tent. Tucked away in a secluded corner of the town lay an old, dilapidated toy factory. Its rusted gates and boarded windows a stark contrast to the vibrant memories of its heyday. Once a bustling hub of toy production, the factory had long since been abandoned, its halls echoing with eerie tales whispered among the locals. Among these chilling tales was the legend of Benny, a whimsical clown doll crafted within the factory's walls. Benny was said to possess an otherworldly charm that drew children into his spectral grasp. Over time, reports surfaced of children mysteriously disappearing after coming into possession of the peculiar doll. Amidst the cautionary warnings, a group of teenagers dared each other to explore the decrepit factory. Among them was Alex, a skeptic who scoffed at the tales of the haunted clown doll, determined to debunk the urban legends. As they ventured into the decaying factory, shadows danced along the walls, and the air grew thick with an unsettling chill. The abandoned assembly lines and discarded toys created an eerie backdrop, intensifying the ominous ambience that pervaded the factory. Upon discovering a forgotten storage room, Alex stumbled upon a dusty old crate housing the infamous Benny doll, a clown with a garish grin and glassy, unblinking eyes. Despite the warnings, Alex scoffed at the superstitions and pocketed the doll as a macabre souvenir. As night descended, the group settled in an abandoned office, their flashlights casting eerie glows across the desolate factory floor. But as the hours ticked by, a hushed melody, a haunting tune reminiscent of a circus carousel, resonated through the corridors, sending a shiver down their spines. The atmosphere grew oppressive and unease settled upon the group. Strange occurrences ensued. The doll's eyes seemed to follow their every move, and faint whispers echoed from the shadows. As the night wore on, Alex and the others found themselves trapped within a surreal nightmare. The factory twisted and contorted around them, its decrepit halls transforming into a malevolent circus setting. The macabre vision of a haunted funhouse. Amidst the ghostly spectacle, Benny, the clown doll, took on a life of its own. A sinister grin etched upon its plastic face. It led the group through a nightmarish performance, a haunting display of twisted carnival games and eerie antics. Trapped within the spectral funhouse, the teenagers struggled to escape the doll's sinister influence. Benny's presence seemed to blur the lines between reality and nightmare, ensnaring them within the chilling grasp of the haunted toy factory. As the night deepened, the factory's atmosphere grew increasingly sinister. Whispers echoed from the shadows, and the doll's haunting gaze seemed to intensify, a malevolent glint in its glassy eyes. Unease settled upon the group, manifesting in trembling hands and nervous glances. A sense of foreboding lingered in the air, thickening with each passing moment. One of the teenagers, Maya, ventured too close to the doll, drawn inexplicably by its eerie allure. In an instant, she vanished into thin air, leaving the others in a state of petrified shock. An atmosphere of screams pierced the air as panic erupted. The factory's dim corridors became a maze of terror, the group's frantic attempts to flee met by dead ends and ominous dead ends. As they attempted to regroup, a chilling sight unfolded. Mark, one of the teens, stumbled backward, his face contorted in terror. He clutched his arm, blood seeping from a deep gash. None could explain how the injury appeared, a ghastly wound that materialized as if by some unseen force. The atmosphere thickened with an overwhelming sense of dread, pressing upon their chests like a suffocating weight. Some felt their breaths grow shallow, their hearts pounding against their ribs in sheer terror. Ariana, her gaze fixed on the doll's haunting visage, felt a surge of paralyzing fear wash over her. The malevolent aura emanating from the doll seemed to envelop her, and with a faint gasp, she collapsed to the floor, overcome by the oppressive terror. Amidst the chaos and disorientation, Alex, the skeptic, realized the direness of their situation. He clutched the doll, its garish smile now a haunting grimace, and hurled it across the factory floor. The doll shattered against the wall, its glassy eyes fractured into shards. With a shudder, the oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the nightmarish visions dissolved. The group stumbled out of the factory, their hearts racing with the echoes of the chilling experience that haunted them. As dawn broke over the horizon, they gathered outside the factory gates, shaken but alive, yet Mia's disappearance remained a haunting mystery, etched into their memories as a testament to the eerie malevolence that lurked within the abandoned toy factory. At Mia's house, relief washed over the group upon finding her safe yet disoriented. Mia couldn't recall anything from the night at the factory. She'd lost consciousness and found herself back home. Concern rippled through the group as Maya struggled to piece together her fragmented memories. Venturing into Maya's room, they discovered the haunting clown doll tucked beneath her bed, eerily reminiscent of the one from the factory. Mia's puzzling revelation added another layer to the strange events. A courier delivered the doll an hour ago, claiming that it was sent a week ago, and that the sender was her grandfather, who died 5 years ago. A shiver ran down their spines as the implication sank in. The sender's name on the delivery box was that of Mia's grandfather, who had passed away 5 years ago. She confessed to stashing it away, too frightened by the inexplicable arrival. The group exchanged bewildered looks, grappling with the chilling mystery of the doll's origins. Though the haunted factory now stood silent, the lingering presence of the clown doll cast an eerie shadow, a haunting reminder of unexplained phenomena. And so, laden with unanswered questions and a sense of unease, the group departed from Maya's house, the inexplicable events leaving them in a state of baffled uncertainty.